I was talking to a parent in our office and they told me that they have recently shifted their kid from the CBSE board school to IB school, and the school made them sign a bond that they cannot shift their kid back to CBSE for next 2 years. Now it's a very specific situation, but a lot of parents are not aware of nuanced reality like this. So I am getting a lot of queries on what is the right time for me to shift my kid to IB school, whether it's worth it or not. And I've done some of those videos previously, but while IB board has a lot of strengths on paper and I really love their teaching pedagogy and the learning style, etc., but we need to also look at how the system is getting implemented in India so that you truly understand what you are getting into. So in this video, I want to talk about the ground reality of IB system in India and what kind of things or problems you can expect if you're putting your kid there. All this on the other side of this intro. Keep watching. Hey guys, thanks for being with us, subscribing to our channel, liking our videos, and also giving us both positive as well as critical feedback. The critiques are what helps me dig deeper and look into the real concerns of students and families. So yes, thank you for that. And again, today's video will be polarizing, I guess, but after getting a lot of feedback, we also talked to a lot more parents and looked at the feedback online and offline of students who have been through the IB system in India to understand what are the unique challenges that IB schools face in India. So this is not critique of IB board system globally. It might be implemented differently, but in India, we are seeing certain situation as parents rightly pointed out in our previous videos. So we are covering those points in detail. So if you're somebody who is heading into IB now or you're considering IB now, you will have to manage these factors. I'm not trying to scare you away from IB, but manage these factors so that you can make the most for your kid. So I'll be covering some harsh realities, some points about IB board systems which are challenging, and it might be a long video, so please stay with me till the end. And I would love to know your feedback. So watch this and let me know what you think about it, and did I miss anything important in the comments below. But for now, let's get started. The biggest problem is teacher issues and flawed execution. The success of the IB curriculum largely depends on whether the educators implementing it are properly trained in IB philosophy or not. Because the IB philosophy is known to focus on inquiry-based learning, critical thinking, and student-led discovery. But if the teacher is not properly trained in it, then those things cannot get delivered. And this is particularly seen in the problem that we face a severe scarcity of experienced IB educators in India. And a parent remarked this on Reddit, that finding teachers who have genuine IB training is a major hurdle in India. So many schools are just hiring educators from other boards and then try to retrofit the IB curriculum onto them, which often results in a diluted learning experience for the students. This is very, very true, right? And it highlights a major flaw because the professional development in IB pedagogy isn't given the same priority as in regions where the program is more established. Let's look at some more reviews. For example, this parent from Bangalore complains on Quora how their experience in IB school in Bangalore wasn't great because the quality ultimately depends solely on whether the teacher is genuinely trained in the IB method. Unfortunately, many teachers were simply transferring their CBSE habits into an IB format. Another parent complains on Reddit that the success of each class was completely dependent on teachers' passion for the IB framework. So while some classes felt innovative and engaging, others were just a rehash of standard lectures. So the quality of teaching has a direct impact on student outcomes. When teachers are inadequately prepared to deliver the IB curriculum, students miss out on developing critical skills like research, independent thinking, and creative problem solving, which IB is known for. And this is disheartening to see because many IB classes end up being no different from traditional lecture-based classes because the teacher just is not trained in the model. So these real-world accounts basically show the problem that while the IB curriculum has a lot to offer, its success in India is heavily reliant on finding and nurturing those teachers who can truly understand and effectively implement these techniques. So before you decide on any IB school, get some feedback on how good its teachers actually are. Second complaint we hear about IB is that Indian IB board is missing the global standards. Now, the promise of the IB curriculum lies in its international appeal and a focus on holistic learning. However, many Indian parents are feeling that the way IB is executed locally often feels disconnected from its global standard. For example, this is a real review from a parent who said, "My son struggled to adapt to IB. He was doing very well in the US system. He goes to an IB school in Hyderabad, which is one of the best here, but it doesn't compare to the US public schools. Infrastructure is lacking, teachers are worthless, and the school costs way too much for what it has." Some people also say that IB curriculum in India is just repurposed CBSE and GCSE with command terms and ATLs. This comment highlights a significant concern that instead of offering a fresh, innovative approach to learning, the curriculum can sometimes appear as a repackaging of familiar content with only superficial modifications. So here is another review that highlights it. "I totally agree, IB schools in India need at least 5 years to become what they are capable of, since now they are just recycling GCSE content. At the fees that we are paying now, it's not worth at all. The only reason I haven't changed to a CBSE school is because my son has many friends who are also from abroad like US, Australia and New Zealand. If you want to move back, put your child in a IGCSE school as it is similar enough. IB here is just repurposed CBSE and GCSE with command terms and ATLs." These comments just highlight that IB implementation may not fully deliver on its promise of fostering critical thinking and creative problem solving. I don't think IB schools in India are mature enough, and we may need to see another 5-6 years before they stabilize and deliver on their promise. And if it is merely recycling the conventional educational content, then why are we paying such a high fee for it? Third point many parents don't understand is how heavy the workload really is. IBDP in 11th and 12th is demanding on time. This is not a negative in my opinion, but if the child is not disciplined and very conditioned to rote learning, he may struggle with the workload and the project. So I'm reading out two interesting student reviews here. And this student comments that he joined IB during high school, where he had physics, chemistry, bio and math all divided between SL and HL subjects. He then comments how projects involve a good deal of secondary and primary research, and for science it's mostly experiments and a mini dissertation. Alongside, you would have to do 150 hours of community service or volunteering, creative and extracurriculars during your 11th and 12th grade. Do not sign up for this if you don't have a decent work ethic and have no goal of applying abroad. It is way harder than any stream you do in CBSE. Mugging up doesn't work for shit here, so procrastination and last minute cramming is highly unadvisable during your studies. Another student has commented, ex-IB student here, IB is good for applying abroad, and yes, there will be a lot of research and project-based work involved. IB isn't really as academically rigorous as it is work intensive. You do learn a lot of valuable skills and time management. If you're leaning towards IB, make sure you join a good school that is reputable and does the IB in a right fashion. So this line I think is very important, that it's not academically rigorous, but it's very work intensive. So a lot of projects, a lot of community work and all those things that require time. So student has to be very, very good in their time management. But if the kid can manage this, then I think that's excellent training for the real world later on. Fourth point I want to talk about is the curriculum complexity. Now I understand that IB curriculum's flexibility is a plus point. The choices and flexibility it offers is unparalleled. You can combine science with business or humanities and create your own unique learning pathway. Even if I compare IB board with other international curriculum like Cambridge board, or then the students say that on the face of it, yeah, IB seems better for your kids' overall development. Cambridge gets a little hyper focused when you reach A levels. You only take exams in 3 subjects or something. IB has a little more breadth. Students will still have to study foreign languages, take arts and science subjects together in +2. This means more holistic development. But the lack of constraints or too much flexibility can have unintended repercussions. This is what I mean. So I know a kid who had taken physics, design, technology and math, but neither bio nor chemistry. So this suddenly made her choice of college courses very limited. She couldn't go for engineering related courses without 2 sciences, and then she decided that she doesn't want to go in pure arts courses either way. So she was neither here nor there kind of a situation. So my advice is that if you're going for an unconventional mix of courses, make sure your college options remain open. The other issue this kid faced was when the art teacher or the design teacher left the school in December of her 11th grade year. The teacher had not really finished much coursework and the students were left in limbo. The school managed to put some makeshift teacher, but students' projects and grades suffered a lot. Internal assessments are initially graded by your school's teachers but are later moderated by IB appointed examiners to ensure consistency. Any work which is not done as rigorously will not be graded well by these external examiners. Further, she could not work on her design portfolio as planned and she didn't feel prepared to apply for art schools abroad. So because of this school's lack of ability to provide right guidance in her subjects, this kid ended up with a messed up experience in 12th board year, causing huge stress and anxiety. The question is, are Indian schools ready to teach these unconventional courses? Otherwise, why offer them? By the way, this is the case from a very highly regarded IB school. So if this is the case with a big school in a metro city in India, I question what might be happening in tier 2 cities where good teachers are anyways lacking. Fifth point I want to cover is the dropout rates and lack of cooperation from schools. Now, so in IB board, you can score a maximum of 42 just on your 6 subjects, like 7 points maximum each. But the passing criteria is that you need to score at least 24 points with no more than 3 subjects scoring below 3, right? So now that we have seen that IB workload is pretty intensive, so students who fail to meet this minimum passing criteria do not receive the IB diploma, even though they may still receive individual course certificates. So some reports and anecdotal evidence suggest that a significant number of students switch to other boards after the first year due to this intense workload and difficulty in managing subjects like extended essay and theory of knowledge, the TOK. Now, I have seen cases where another famous school that offers both IB board and CBSE school is making the parents sign a bond that you cannot change from IB to CBSE board later on in their campus. This signals that the schools receive many requests where students are not coping well in IB board and they want to switch to CBSE. This also means that CBSE board campuses are more in demand and competitive to get into. So I feel that while IB board schools are growing fast in India, they are yet to reach a mature stage where they offer a solid foundation and required mentorship for the kids. It will take a few more years for this system to stabilize and become a more appealing option. Sixth point I want to cover is the MYP to IBDP transition. If you go with IB for 6th grade till 10th, they have this program called the MYP, which is the middle years program. Only a few schools offer it, but some Reddit students posted that MYP is pretty awful at preparing students for their 11th and 12th. It's extremely easy compared to other boards at the same age level. So I wouldn't really recommend doing the MYP because it's simply a drain of money and you don't get much in return for it. So if you're very keen on IB, do the IBDP in later years. Don't spend money on MYP. So the way out for this is, I've seen many schools offer Cambridge IGCSE board until class 10th, and then in 11th and 12th they switch to IBDP if you're keen on the IB board option. So I think that seems like a good trade-off if you want to continue with some sort of international education but don't want to go for the MYP. Next point is misalignment with Indian college admissions, but I'm sure you already understand it. Firstly, of course, IB curriculum does not align at all with the JEE or NEET kind of exams. Second, it also puts you at a disadvantage with colleges that use percentage-based assessments. The conversion from IB grades to Indian percentage varies across universities and institutions. While it is true that a perfect IB score is often translated to around 90-95%, this means that IB students are at a disadvantage when competing with Indian board students who can score even 96% or 99% in CBSE or other boards. If an IB student scores 35 out of 45, let's say, their equivalent Indian percentage may be around 55 to 65% only, which will make it very difficult to compete for seats in premier Indian universities where cutoffs are extremely high. So it is just like not fair, because I'm sure the student would have put in much higher efforts than a comparable other board kid, but still they would, on paper, they would only see 55 to 65%. So I think if you have to convert the IB to Indian system or percentages, you are at a disadvantage. So the only Indian options after an IB education is modern age private universities like Ashoka, OP Jindal, etc. But obviously the number of such universities is limited. So this is why people say that go to IB board only if you're seriously considering studying abroad in your college. And last factor is of course cost. I'm not even going to elaborate on it, with fee ranging anywhere between 10 to 30 lakh for the IB board schools. You have to really ask yourself, am I getting the desired ROI? So those were some of the points and detailed reviews that we dug out and we wanted to share, so that if you are making this switch or considering moving your kid to IB school in future, then I hope you will keep these points in consideration. I hope this helps. If I've missed something, let me know in the comments. Again, the idea is not to bash or endorse a particular board. It's just to keep you aware, and thanks to all the parents who gave us feedback on the last video, because that helped us compile this one. What other information can I create for you? If you have any video ideas, do tell me in the comments below. And yes, thanks always for being here with us, liking our content and encouraging us to keep putting more efforts into content like this. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps me. So I will see you guys next week with another fresh video. Until then, take care. Bye-bye.